It was a goal reversal that changed the momentum early. The Red Wings jumped out to a 3-0 lead, and despite multiple comeback efforts, it never got back to even. Welcome to the postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller and Jack Richardson, wrapping up a Senators 5-3 loss at the hands of the Detroit Red Wings. The postcast always brought to you by the SensCentral Pub. Check out the GCP where the vibes are free. It's at 779 Bank Street. Let them know that Locked On Senators sent you and get your tickets on the Send Shuttle. The next one is rolling to the CTC next Saturday night against the Florida Panthers. Pilsy, this one I'll sum up in one word: infuriating.
Yeah, I mean, I would say maybe disappointing is how I feel more, because the boys played a good game outside of the crease, like out shooting the Red Wings 38-20. Even in the first period, I know you're down 3-0 in the first period, but they were out shooting them 17-8. They had great chances. They got enough power play opportunities. I mean, you can't really complain about not getting enough chances when they get 6 of them, including back-to-back ones at the end of the game when it was crucial timing. But Levi Marilainen, this just was not his night. And Hunter Shepard, good on him. Nice to see him get his debut, but he wasn't able to mop things up well enough here either. So it's disappointing for sure, when I feel like as a team, they played well enough to win, or at the very least, Jack, well enough to get a point in this one.
They dominated the first period. Let's just start there. And you look at the scoreboard and it's 3-0 after one. That's I think disappointing is the best way to put it there, Pilsy, because that's a game that they came out, they were ready to play. They looked great, generating like crazy against the team that's at the top of the Atlantic Division right now. You're thinking this is great, but then it's every mistake ending up in the back of the net. Before that third goal with Levy, the bad rebound control on the second one on the power play, but I'd say both of those were preventable goals from the team. So it's just things that we've seen all season. I think I tweeted out that whole period was all the problems this season in 20 minutes. It was exactly all of that. You generate, can't score, get goal lead, and then every chance ends up in the back of your net. Like the Andrew Kopp first goal of the game, what ended up being the first goal of the game, is gifted to him from Tyler Clevin on a routine dump in and a routine change that we just can't have happen. And then the rebound and the rebound control from Levy was brutal. And then that third goal at the end of the first just can't go in. I think that's the worst one on Marilainen, and it ended his night. And it just, even from there, when they changed the goalie, they pushed back. The pushback was great. They still carried play, and they made it a 1-goal game 2 different times tonight, boys, but they just couldn't tie it up. And Red Wings kept answering. That's why it's so frustrating, because they did have that push and they didn't go to sleep easily.
Story of the game, of course, the goaltending. Once again, stop me if you've heard it before. It's the second time in the last 5 games that a Senator starting goalie has been yanked after not being pulled at all in any of the first 36, although you could argue there were a couple where they maybe should have. Of course, Toronto, the other one where Ullmark got the hook his last game before his personal leave of absence. Tonight, Levi Marilainen finishes up with a .625 save percentage. It's just simply not going to get it done. And there's many other reasons. We'll get into all of them. I've got more thoughts on the goaltending, but the other real big storyline in this game is the Senators with back-to-back power plays, down a goal in the third period, and it ultimately ends up in the back of their net 3 minutes and 40 seconds into those 2 power plays. It was just, that's where it turns from disappointing to infuriating for me, because despite all the problems of this team, they still had the biggest golden ticket to get this game back tied, and they failed to produce. The seam passes tonight were brutal. Batherson twice just completely missed on cross-ice passes that ended up in the neutral zone, if not full regroup behind their own net. It was just one of those nights where the passing was brutal, and a couple goals get called back. I got no problem with the Ridley Gregg goal or interference. Pinto's would have been goal that would have made it a 1-goal game again, but just one of those nights, and it's frustrating too when you're the only Atlantic Division teams in action. This would have been those opportunity games, those games in hand you talk about against other teams, and I don't even want to say they played flat, because they played well, but the Achilles heel of this team is biting them in the behind once again. And it feels like it's going to be status quo until Linus Ullmark gets back. Oh, yeah. And Linus Ullmark, statistically, one of the worst goalies in the National Hockey League this year.
Yeah, I mean, I said it on today's podcast that I thought Staios handled it the right way, talking about the goalies. I mean, it's crazy what one game can do, because I think all three of us were saying Levy had looked really good in the last two games, and we were confident with him. And then he gets yanked in the first period, and Hunter Shepard, I mean, he's not supposed to be here doing this, really. Like, he was supposed to be your insurance AHL goalie, and this was the risk they took when they decided to go into the season with Linus Ullmark and Levi Merrillainen. Obviously, it's not an injury that's taken Linus out of this, and the timeline is completely gray. No one knows. He could be back tomorrow. He could be a month. Who knows? So that puts Steve Staios in a really difficult position, being like, all right, do I use assets to go get a goalie so that Levi Merrillainen doesn't have to play every night? And if something happens, we have someone more competent. No offense to Hunter Shepard, who only has a couple of NHL games on his resume. Do I try to pick a guy up off waivers? Then, if and when Linus comes back, we got the free goalie problem. Like, it's a tough one for sure, but
Pillsy, I don't even know if it's.
What do you got?
I don't think it's a tough one at this point. Like, it's obvious after a game like this, you play against a team in the Red Wings that you are a better team than. And I think that over the years, the Sens have proven that. But they're way ahead of them in the standings because of goaltending right now. And last year we saw it for the Sens. They were great. Ullmark and Merrillainen were great. But with the uncertainty right now with Ullmark, you don't know when he's going to be back. And Staios indicated they don't know either. It could be a very long-term thing. He could be back next week for all we know. We don't know. But the problem I have with the way they went about this and the way he conveyed what the plan is that they have faith in their goaltending. And then the line, the one that now has become famous, we'll contend when we're ready to contend. You are ready to contend right now. Tim Stützle and Jake Sanderson are in their prime right now at very discounted cap hits. If you're not ready now, when is it? I don't think that we've seen Tim Stützle or Sanderson, for that matter, play better hockey than they are right now. Your best players are in their prime. So I don't understand if they're nervous to spend a third-round pick on some goalie. I don't know who it is. I'm sure he's checked the market, but if they're hesitant to go get a goalie for cheap for the time being, what are we doing here? That's my problem. You got to be ready to contend when your best players are at their best and healthy. And I can't believe how well Tim Stützle has been playing and their record over his 13-game point streak. It's not pretty. He's just been unbelievable. That's where the frustration comes from, because they can't go into this back-to-back with the Avalanche on the second half of a back-to-back and play Hunter Shepard. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to the team, especially the way they played tonight. They need to address the goaltending. Something has to happen.
Okay, I didn't want to do this first segment, but Hunter Shepard can't play another NHL game. Did you see how small he looked on that 2-on-1 goal?
And that's the problem.
Yeah,
like
he looks like a beer league goalie, man. Yeah. All due respect. Hey, hell of an AHL goalie, back-to-back Calder Cup champion. He looks like those commercials where it's like the mini sticks on the ice and the net it looks like a soccer net behind him. And I don't know. Like, if you play him against the Avalanche, they're scoring 10 goals.
My thing too is if they go get a guy, if they go find someone who's been a backup somewhere, like there's tons of teams with an abundance of goalies. If you overpay for one right now, and then Ullmark comes back, send Levy down, because you're also at the risk here of ruining the confidence of your top goaltending prospect, who last year was fantastic, but he's been awful this year for the most part. And it can't be good for his confidence now having the weight of this team. I know he's an easygoing guy, just here doing his job, whatever, but he needs to play and he needs to get confident. And he's not doing that right now. Getting pulled in a game like this that was so important is not good for Levi Merrillainen's confidence. I think finishing the year in Belleville is not a terrible idea for him if you can go find another guy. So I just think that they need to get out of this mindset of maintaining the course, because the season is quickly slipping away here. That was game 41, and they're near the bottom of the Atlantic Division, no matter how tight it is. It's just frustrating that they're being so coy about it, and it's such a glaring, obvious issue in a game like tonight where they were by miles the better team.
Pelsey, just like the Leafs game, eh? Like this one, it had so many similarities from the early deficit. Obviously, this game, you had the glimmer of hope when I still haven't seen a camera angle, and Amazon has 1,000 cameras in the rink. Nobody could see the puck come outside the zone. I think you could kind of put 2 and 2 together and say his whole hand was behind, but it has to be definitive if it's a goal being called reverse in the coach's challenge. So I think for that one, it sucks. It's a bad bounce. But again, the Sens shot themselves in the foot with their lack of finishing ability on the 2 power plays. And then Claude Giroux, who's been great, 9 points in his last 8 games. But that entry that just puts it on a tee for the 2-on-1 rush the other way, where you get the 5th goal for Detroit, like that's just a low IQ play from one of the smartest power play players of our generation, really. So just unfortunate that you look at this game as a missed opportunity. The old pissing away points that Steve Staios alluded to at the quarter season mark, it's still happening. And he had to be lying when he said he's confident in the goaltending situation going forward. Like, I get that you can't then pile on after you already acknowledge that, hey, if you ask them, they'll tell you they haven't performed up to snuff. But this problem's continuing. We were dancing in the streets on back-to-back games against Washington and Winnipeg, Pilsy, because we had a point something goal saved above expected. Like, neither of those were goalie steals. And in one of them, the save percentage was barely 900. It might not have even been. And we're like, oh my God, look, we got some saves. We've had bad goaltending in the past in Ottawa. It's never been worse than it is right now. I don't even think that's crazy to say. And I watched Joonas Korpisalo let in the first goal on the first 2 shots like 30 times in one season.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thinking is, Ross, that the hope, I guess, is that it can't get much worse. And if you can just get to that spot where you're getting around 900 and around the appropriate goals above expected percentages, that the team is good enough to carry them. So I think that's why Steve Staios is like, look, we're confident our goalie can get a little bit better than absolutely worst in the league. But it's a game of chicken. Like, how long are you going to wait? That was game 41. We're at the halfway point of this season, and it hasn't gotten better now. Do you wait a little longer and hope they figure it out? Do you put all the pressure on Levy? Do you hope you get a Hunter Shepherd miracle? Or, like Jack said, do you go out and use an asset to bring someone in just to, if anything, just to change the crease, the way practice is, to put a little pressure on the guys that are here and say, hey, someone new's coming in. You got someone breathing down your shoulder here. Like, I don't know.
Respectfully, there's no way that the Senators shooters and coaches have seen Hunter Shepherd look that small in net in practice and be like, yeah, he's an NHL goalie.
What is his size? Like, does he just look small, or is he a small guy?
It says he's 5'11", 225, and I do not believe that.
225 at 5'11".
I don't believe it.
You know what's crazy, boys, tonight, though, with Shepherd? He looked better than Levy did. I know that's crazy. The 2 he let in, like, that's a great shot by Raymond. He beats him, but, like, there's a really nice play around Shabbat. And then a 2-on-1, basically a breakaway. He was all right. Other than that, I thought. And, like,
he just didn't give me any confidence.
But
every shot, he looked like a beer league goalie.
But my point is, he gave me more than Levy did in the first period. Like, watching those first flurry of saves. At my point being, though, that's where the Sens goaltending is at right now. It's not good. So something's got to change.
I'll give you a fourth option, and Bruce Garriock just brought this up on Twitter, but he said, don't be surprised if Mads Sogard comes on the trip.
Yeah, but
I don't.
He looks bigger.
Yeah. You're definitely not going to have that same comment, Ross. But
hey, he should have beat Colorado. Remember that garbage call 3 years ago where they poked his glove in the net?
I mean, at this point, I guess, like, if Steve Staios is saying we're confident in our goalies, then you got to throw Mads in to see if that works. You have to.
That'd be a hell of a story, boys. If Mads Sogard comes in and saves the season of all guys, that'd be great. Because listen, I saw that game in Belleville or in Laval that he played. And they lost. It wasn't great, but he stood out to me. He was great. He looked good. So there's something. There's something there. I know the numbers are bad this year for Mads Sogard, but you got to think they'll try to bring him up, no?
Matthew Ansel says Vladimir Nikitin. I don't think we're bringing him over from the second level in Russia.
Nobody even knows where he's playing these days. That guy is switching leagues like crazy. Why not try him in the NHL, actually? Sure.
Yeah, hey, Lucas Beckman. Sorry, I know that you just traded for him, Shikadimi, but we got an emergency situation. This could be an emergency recall used here. The Senators' goaltending cannot get any worse. It cannot. This was a pathetic display between the pipes for the Senators and just the momentum killers on top of it. But again, if there's not the turnovers at the offensive blue line, in the third period. And if there's not the defensive miscues in front of the net, maybe it looks a little bit different. But there is more than just goaltending that we have to get to. We'll do that next. You're listening to the Postcast presented by Locked On Senators. The Postcast always brought to you by our good friends over at the Glebe Central Pub. Check out the GCP where the vibes are free. You can find them at 779 Bank Street. Let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. I really wanted to make a cool, funny pun that it's wing night every Monday at the GCP, but I guess that one got past me like it did for the Senators tonight in the crease as well. But it is wing night. You can go there for great wings every Monday night at the GCP. You can go there on Wednesday for open mic night, whether you want to sing, laugh, or just sit back and listen. And on Saturdays, live music, no cover ever. They've also got the Glebe Central Pub shuttle. Because the bus goes to the rink an hour, 15 minutes before the game, you'll get there in plenty of time before puck drop. Then it leaves after the game and you get the bus lane. You're literally just waving at everybody, just sitting in lot 9. Hey, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. And you get right back to the pub after the game. So it's a great spot to go. Let them know that Locked On Senators sent you, and you can get your tickets on GlebeCentralPub.com. The GCP, walking distance from Lansdowne. Find them at 779 Bank Street.
This episode is also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Fridays feel different during basketball season. FanDuel's making them even better. Every Friday night, right before tip-off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. It's your official pregame, a limited-time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. You got NBA Happy Hour. Open up the FanDuel app. They're going to give you boosts, bonuses, and some surprises as well. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off. Make your move before the game, right before the weekend. Add some extra energy to Friday Night Basketball. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app, see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour. And every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m., you got an hour and a half there, a little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
Welcome back to the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller and Jack Richardson. You can find us through our social handles below in the show description. Please click the thumbs up, helps grow the show, as well as leave a GSG in the comments below. Love seeing the chat, over 230 of you in this Ventcast with us, because that is what it is. And I almost want to apologize to Hunter Shepard. Like, I've been hard on him so far in this show, and it's not his fault playing 2 periods of what was already pretty much a lost contest. It just felt like some momentum was being built throughout the second and third period, and it just couldn't come back. And it's more of just a look thing. And Brooke, great citizen, replied to my tweet saying that he looks so small in the net of a photo of him during a TV timeout. And like, anyways, neither here nor there. Lots of other issues tonight. What else stood out to you, Jack?
I think you touched on it earlier. The power play it didn't look bad, so it's hard to kind of look at it as the reason they lost this game. But they lost the special teams battle, and giving up a shorthanded goal is never good for a power play. But also they just didn't strike when they needed to. They obviously got the Cousins goal in the second period to get back into it, but the lack of kind of killer instinct, which we've talked about before. Statistically, it's one of the best power plays in the NHL because they have nights like this where they get one, have a lot of opportunities, and it helps the percentage. But just the amount of time and the amount of chances, the amount of puck possession they had to not generate enough looks is disheartening. And you mentioned Batherson. He's just an issue tonight on the power play. It wasn't even just the bad passes. Pucks were blowing up on his stick. Cousins whiffed on one right in the slot in the third period. Kachuk was a little bit just, I don't want to call him soft in front of the net, but he didn't have that presence in front of the net like we're used to seeing. Just issues on the power play where you have that many looks at that time of the game, even to start the game. The first shift, they had a power play and didn't get anything done. And then you look to Detroit's, took them 20 seconds to score on their first power play. So I think that's the thing I'm looking at, because 5-on-5, they generated. This team always generates. They find goals here and there. I think the 5-on-5 scoring coming into the year was the biggest issue, but it's been pretty good so far this year. I know that score effects, they've been down in a lot of games, but they've been able to climb their way back into games a lot more this season than they did last year. So that's a bonus. I just didn't like the power play tonight. It was way too much zone time and puck possession to not generate anything else, and especially in that third period.
I almost feel like sometimes when the Sens get more than 4 power play opportunities, it doesn't go in their favor, because I feel like then they're just like, oh, we have all this time on the power play. Let's get that perfect play. Let's make those risky cross ice passes. Let's not worry about if we're not able to enter the zone cleanly. Like, there's just so many things where I feel like maybe they take it for granted. Nights where they have like 2 or 3 power plays, I find they have a little bit more urgency. Whether that's true or not, I'd be interested to look at the stats of that. But yeah, tonight just too much passing. Like we got shooters. Like Timmy can rip it. Cousins on the power play, he's got a big shot. Even I want to see Sanderson shooting it more as well. Like, so many times, Jack, do you see Sanderson with a nice opportunity at the top of the umbrella, and he's trying to make that pass, and I'm sure that's the way they want their power play to work, with Sanderson moving it to the flanks. But I'm confident in his ability to shoot. Let's get some of those shots through.
Senators fall 5-3 to the Detroit Red Wings tonight, despite outshooting them 38-20. Ottawa 1 for 6 on the power play. Detroit 1 for 5. The Red Wings in the third period also scored their first shorthanded goal of the season. That was the insurance marker that put this game away. The Senators dominate the faceoff dot, winning 58.7%. Ottawa with 20 hits to 13 for Detroit, and Ottawa had 12 blocks to Detroit's 10. At 5-on-5, the expected goals percentage pretty much equal, 50.5% in favor of Ottawa. And Travis Green speaking to the media right now, the quote's coming out that after the first period, it felt like we should have been up 3-0, not down 3-0. So why weren't you then? What is going to change? Because it feels like it's been status quo, and there have been ups and downs. But at this point, like, it's so glaringly obvious that they need to find more saves. So if the answer is internal, I'd like to see it. I would love to be wrong here, but I'm not sure it is. And obviously, we're wishing for the best for Linus Ullmark, and we hope that everything works out all right. But how does he think sitting at home watching this game? Like, if he's following along, like, he sees the shots are 14-6 for Ottawa and scores 2-0 at that point, and then they add another one soon after. So just an infuriating night all around if you're an Ottawa Senators fan. A player on the team, Claude Giroux, after the game saying, like, we felt like we did enough to win this game, but then you're pulling the puck out of your net, and all of a sudden it's not good enough. So let us know in the chat, how would you fix the Ottawa Senators right now? And is it realistic, or are you just grasping at anything to make you feel better about the current state of affairs for the Sens? Like, they're coming off 2 straight wins, right? Like, it's hard because they win a couple, then they lose a couple. They win a couple, they bring you back in, and then they drop it. And then they have these fake comebacks where against Toronto twice they bring it to within 1 goal. Tonight twice they bring it to within 1 goal, but it's not enough to get them over the mountain. And speaking of mountains and hills, the Sens are going on a 2-game trip up to ski country. Got Utah on Wednesday, and then Denver, Colorado to take on an Avalanche team that has 3 regulation losses all season long. Could you imagine covering that team, Pilsy?
Yeah, I mean, jealous of our guys over at Locked On Avalanche, because that's got to be a lot of fun. Oh my God.
Sheesh. Jack, what would you do in the immediate future? Like, if you're Travis Green, do you say, hey, we played well, let's just run it back and hope to get some saves on Wednesday? Or are you making some strategic differences to the game?
I think so, boys. Like, and I know that sucks to say, but as a coach, what do you do when that happens? Like, obviously the mistakes you need to shore up, but we've seen this team bounce back from games where they've had mistakes and those have cost them, right? Like, we've seen that happen. I think back, I mean, Clevin had a bad one tonight, and you think back to the Minnesota game where he had that one. The next game, I think they all played well. You know, like, there weren't any glaring mistakes if I'm not mistaken. So as a coach, there's not much you can say. And you think back to this, so this stretch that they're on now, I believe it's a 6-3-1 stretch in the last however many games that is. Not a math guy. In the losses, they have that Columbus loss, which is brutal, which was a no-show. But then the one against the Leafs, and then this one where they do battle back. And I think that big sample, that's okay, you know, but at this point and where they are in the standings, the moral victory season is over. And we said that almost a month ago, right? They need points. So I think as a coach, it's really interesting what the message should be, because it's obviously a saves issue. It's a goaltending issue. But like we mentioned, it's the lack of shoring up defensively, which we've seen them do, like the high danger chances. I think that expected goals percentage tonight is pretty glaring. Being that close 5-on-5 for each is because of the chances they gave up. And like I mentioned, I think Shepherd actually made some good saves in the second period.
They did.
So long answer short, Ross, I don't know. I don't know what you say. I know there's a lot of people that are frustrated, but I really do think this coaching staff has done a great job for the most part. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. What more can you do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Minus 2.5 goals saved above expected tonight. And the Senators lose by 2 goals. So do the math on that one, and you have the answer. Hey, credit to John Gibson, though, at the other end. He was spectacular. He made some great saves.
Yeah, and the issue with the Sens, too, is they lose the big games they need. Like, if they win that Leafs game, that's huge coming out of the break. You get to ride some momentum you had going into the break, and obviously you beat a division rival. Okay, cool. Then you get the 2 wins, one against the Washington Capitals. And who's the other win they got? I'm forgetting now.
The Jets.
No. Yeah.
Jets. Like, those aren't really like big morale boosts, especially the Jets are the worst team in the league right now. So then you have a chance to turn this into a 3-game win streak up against a heated rival in the Atlantic Division, your first game up against them in the season. And this is what happens. So it's just like you get little upticks, then you have a moment to get a big boost and you fall. Like they're not able to ride those waves and win those big games up against division rivals. And if you're able to get a point in some of these, that helps, but they can't even do that. So it's got to be frustrating as a team, but it's frustrating as a fan to not be able to take a hold of the big moment games.
As you mentioned this morning, Pillsy, this team needs to go on a baby run. They've got to win 4, 5, 6 in a row to put themselves in a better position than they are now. And their Achilles heel has been slashed in half, stomped on, if you will. And they fall tonight 5-3. We got standouts on the other side. We got some work to do to find some. Actually, you know what? There are a couple of good performances. We can get that next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day. Welcome back to the postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller and Jack Richardson after a 5-3 loss against the Detroit Red Wings. I do not want to go back to the goaltending conversation, but we said, hey, let us know in the chat, what is your solution? And I mean, when Karimbo is writing in saying, go get Marc-Andre Fleury, like that guy has been retired for the last 8 months. Like that's when you know that we are deep in the desperation mode, Jack.
The problem too, boys, is obviously the elephant in the room is Linus Ullmark and his situation, but it's no different than if he was injured, and it's no different than that situation. I guess you'd have a timeline maybe then. The uncertainty is a huge question mark, but it's also not like Ullmark was having a good season. So when he was here, it was a problem. It's just amplified now because your star isn't here anymore. So that's kind of the issue with the goaltending. I don't have an answer. I think I said it at the beginning of the show. They got to try something though, because this idea
is trying something starting Hunter Shepherd in Utah. Like, is that enough?
Well, he's getting one of those games, so I'd rather him play that one if he's going to play. I mean, otherwise it's just you're throwing him to the wolves in Colorado.
This is the angle I'm talking about on the Rasmussen goal.
He's just small. He's a small goalie.
That's a soccer net. And shout out to Prime Monday Night Hockey. Grab this from them. This is
and Rasmussen looks like a giant.
Yeah. I mean, it's Ross. I know you're really hung up on.
Look
the
at this.
I know, man.
Crazy.
I know it's a lot to shoot at. He's deep in the net too. Like I don't know, boys, but
Jack, he's at the end of his crease. He's at the end of his crease there. He's not deep in the net there.
I guess, is that the right positioning for that kind of? I don't know. Like
I don't know. Ducked down is. I've never been taught that in goalie school.
I guess the point though, boys, is like if Ullmark was hurt, it's the same situation. So what would they have done if he got hurt? And that's something that's happened in his career a lot. So this isn't like they're in this situation because Ullmark went on leave all of a sudden. He could have gotten hurt very easily, which he's done. And then this is the depth they have in the organization. It's a problem. So they need to go and get someone to save the season, because I don't know if you boys know, I got some news. They don't have a first round pick.
No!
So they can't really hang out where they are in the standings because there's no, remorse if they don't make the playoffs this season. It's a failure. So they need to find a way. And the way that they can do that is shoring up the crease, and banking on Levi Merlinan to find his game. It just isn't going to be good enough. And I think that they're at a huge risk right now of just letting the season slip by with more than, a whole half to go here.
Yeah. You know what? I start Matt Sogard against Utah. That's what I've come to my conclusion, because they're not bringing in someone by Wednesday.
Oh.
Matt Sogard's game on Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't hate that. You got to do something, and if Steve Sayo says we believe in our goalies, then prove it. Bring the next guy up, and let's see how he does. Because Ross, you were 1,000% vindicated by that screenshot. That was just crazy.
He's a small
and I got bad news for people that are on the Marc-Andre Fleury camp.
No.
He's not coming to Ottawa. Like, you don't come out of retirement to join a team that has the worst goaltending in the league and not be put in a comfortable position. He's not going to do that.
I like the football references. We can't do a Philip Rivers situation here.
Exactly.
Like, let's.
What's Andy doing?
I like that. There's other goalies out there. There are capable NHL goaltenders somewhere in the world that are playing hockey right now and not retired. Like, they can't be looking in the retirement 40-year-old. I mean, I'd love Craig Anderson though if he came back. That'd be great.
He could win a couple of games.
It'd be fun.
Do you really want Levi Merlinan though, his first game back, to be a back-to-back against Colorado after getting pulled? Is that where we want Levi to go? Like, what do we? I don't know.
You got to start somebody against Colorado. I ain't doing it.
That'd be a great game for
Jackson Parsons.
Yeah, right. Hey, welcome to the show, kid.
Yeah,
make Justin Peters start.
Yeah, actually, no, that is the perfect thing. Yeah, that's the perfect punishment.
Yeah. Hey, Petey,
you fix it.
You fix it. Player coach. SensCentral standouts after a 5-3 loss. This was almost the opposite of last year's 2-1 win, where Ottawa got the victory on Prime, and
we got sensed.
Had all the shots in that one, 49-23 in that one. Tonight, Ottawa with the edge in the shot totals, 38-20 on the dot, and yet the Senators have a 750 team save percentage. The old, what was it? The John Tortorella quote about John Graham during the playoffs against Ottawa. I'm getting sick of the 25% rule. Yeah, that's how I feel about the Senators right now. And we're a goalie-friendly show, Pillsy. Yep. We're a goalie-friendly show that has watched the worst goaltending in the National Hockey League. That's sad, man. That's really sad.
It's tough.
Yeah. Hey, Swampy, I like this. Get McDermott in the pads. He looked big in there.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we just need and yeah, he's not a fast skater, but that's why a lot of goalies get in the crease, because they suck at skating. So toss them in. Why not?
How excited are you for that postcast against the Colorado game at midnight?
That has just Jack and Pillsy written all over it, eh? That's our show, Pillsy. That's the one.
Oh man.
Is there a part of you guys, though? This is so delirious of me. Is there a part of you guys, like, they have the worst goaltending in the league, and they have a plus goal differential on the season? Like, they're that close to figuring it out.
But and that's why, and I know people don't want to hear it, but that's why I'm teetering on my take of all they have to do is get a little bit better than the absolute worst, and this team's going to be okay, or at least more right there. But I don't know if it can happen, and it doesn't get any easier. Like we talk about, you got Colorado, Florida. Ross, we were talking earlier today, the gauntlet that this team goes through at the end of the month. You have a 3-game stretch where it's Carolina, Vegas, Colorado later on. Like there's not a lot of easy games coming up for the Sens here. And if your goaltending is this bad, like, guys are going to lose morale. And like Timmy's going to be like, guys, I'm on a 13-game heater here, and we can't win games or even get points. And we're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Like, I got my guy. What do you want me to do?
The only other highlight of this game for me is DeBrincat missing the empty net.
That was so good. I said to my girlfriend, I'm like, we've seen that quite often. Just him hitting the side of the net or something.
Yeah, it would have been nice if it hit the post, but hey, that's the littlest sliver of any sort of I'm fine after what we just watched.
Wings fans will love hearing that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what?
Tonight too.
You know what? It's their fourth time beating the Ottawa Senators since COVID. So that's in 16 games now. So let them have this one. 3 more head-to-head games later on in the year. I like Whiskey and Wings in the chat. He's in the chat every once in a while. We appreciate the Wings fans that, hey, it's an original 6 team. You got to respect them, except for Dylan Larkin, easily the most unlikable player in the National Hockey League. Got tapped on the arm and his legs went like he got shot. I couldn't believe that. He's everything that Red Wings fans think that Tim Stützle is, by the way. It's not even close. And then Red Wings fans are saying that Stützle dove when he got elbowed in the head. His helmet almost popped off.
As soon as another player on the other team does this, after Timmy does anything, it's over after that. Remember Sheldon Keefe a couple of years ago?
Dude,
like just screaming
Edmondson
on
was
the bench.
calling for a dive. Like, did you not feel your elbow pop him in the head?
Can I compliment the Red Wings just briefly, just for something that impressed me? Cider and Edmondson are a pairing. They're very
sick.
Good. They're really good.
Long, they're both mean too. Like
they play tough. They're big. They impress me a lot. So I think that's gonna be a great pairing for them for a little bit. A little disappointed we didn't see Travis Hamonic tonight though.
Yeah, you know what? That's really rude. Yeah, really rude. But hey, Drake Batherson, his 200th career assist. Pills. Any thoughts?
I can't believe he made it to 200 assists. Why didn't they clear the benches, boys?
Imagine that.
We needed that.
Oh, man. In a game where we need to have a couple laughs, we will get to standouts in a moment. The scoring summary, of course, brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. Andrew Kopp, 7 minutes into this game, scores unassisted on a break. You know what else is struggling right now? The narrative that Levi Merilainen's great on breakaways. Really bad giveaway here from Tyler Clevin. He's been struggling a lot.
But that was a weird one, Ross, because it goes back before that. So wait, I need to find my notes on it because I noticed that.
Scroll up.
Yeah. What goal is that? Okay, here it is. It's the first goal.
Yeah.
Bad line change by Perron there.
Shocker.
Because I think it's I forget what play. I think it was Cousins. Cousins was going to send him a nice, easy pass, and Perron just controller dies, heads off to the bench, and then that goes all the way back to Halliday. And at this point, Clevin has to go to his offside on the right side, and he's on the right boards there. And then Halliday's like, I'm getting pressured here. My guys already went for a change. I got to go for a change. I'll just dump it off to Clevin here. And he awkwardly gets it at the boards. And then he's like, I got to get rid of this grenade. And he just tries to clear it. And that gets knocked down and Kopp gets it and goes. Like, that whole play is just dysfunctional. And all it takes is one lapse of Perron being like, we got the puck in the offensive zone. I'll just take off here. Where you got to stay in that one, especially when Cousins is literally passing it to you. So that was frustrating for sure.
I get what he's trying to do there, especially that. I think this is complete speculation here, fellas. I think there's something going on here with DP and the coaching staff. He gets demoted to the fourth line. The offensive zone penalties for him are really piling up. It's been bad. He's not playing poorly.
3 in the last 4 games.
It's just stuff that gets you in the doghouse, and he's on the fourth line. Not that that's a fourth line, but his minutes are down. He's not in the top 6 anymore. There was a couple of moments. He scored a couple goals against Chicago, I think it was, just weird celebrations. There's something there. There's something going on. And that's a shift to me where you're a guy who usually plays a lot of minutes and you get off because you're told quick shifts as the fourth line. That's almost like here you go, I'll do it. And it's almost like doing it almost, I don't know what the word is, but doing it too much
like
to
kind of spite them.
To spite them. And it bit them. It was a bad line change, but I get the sentiment. It's because fourth lines get the offensive zone, set up the next line. I think there's something going on there because the body language and the vibe around DP has not been good the last week, I'd say.
5 minutes later, it's Dylan Larkin finishing off a power play goal. DeBrinket's shot, unable to be corralled, hit Levi Merilainen right in the chest, bounces to Larkin. He makes no mistake, and all of a sudden it's 2-0 Red Wings. Then with less than 20 seconds left in the period, it is just an absolutely unacceptable goal where James Van Riemsdyk shoots it from the top of the circle, and it just straight up beats Levi Marilyn. Didn't love that one. 3-0 after the first period. In the second, it was Claude Giroux that got the scoring started from Ottawa. Good cycle play down low. Zetterlund makes a nice move to find Giroux backdoor. He makes no mistake, and the score was 3-1. Then, just minutes later on a power play, it's Tim Stützle getting the puck along the wall, making a great feed to Jake Sanderson. He shoots, rebound comes to a streaking downhill Dylan Cousins, and that was his 12th of the year to make it 3-2. But only a minute and a half later, Lucas Raymond makes it 4-2. And this was the first goal allowed by Hunter Shepard in the game. It was a rim play where Raymond chips it to Comfer, back to Raymond, and he gets time and space to walk in on the pair of Shabbat and Jensen and put this one away. In the third period, it was Brady Tkachuk scoring his 7th, 6.5 minutes into the period. And Jack, I'm going to throw to you on this because this was Timmy Superstar at his finest.
I can't believe what we're watching from Tim Stützle, boys. Every game, it feels like he gets better. That was just such a world-class play. Like, his zone entries are something that we take for granted watching him every night, but he's just a free entry, power play, even strength, regrouping in the neutral zone. I might parlay this a little bit into SensCentral standouts, Ross, if we can get going on those, because spoiler alert, I'm picking Timmy. I thought Tim was awesome. I'm looking at the stat sheet right now. He's a +2, 24 minutes, 24-42, had 30 shifts according to NHL.com. He was a monster and obviously extends his point streak to 13 games. He was the only forward in the plus. Everyone else was either even or minus. He was fantastic tonight again. And I said it earlier, but they got to capitalize because he's making pennies for what he's worth to this team right now, offensively, defensively. On the penalty kill, he's been awesome. So just can't say enough about 18. He's just so fun to watch every night. He's been unbelievable this season.
Yeah, we already broke down the 5th goal of this game anyways, and then the missed power play opportunities on top of that. So Jack's going with Tim Stützle. Pilsy, who you got as your SensCentral standout?
I know, Ross, you didn't like the one play from Claude Giroux on the power play, but I thought overall Claude was buzzing.
I agree that he had a great game overall.
Yeah. The goal that he got, I liked it. He had 3 shots on goal, 1 block, 1 hit. Obviously good in the faceoff dot, 62.5%. I was kind of not sure about him being up on that top line, like we talked about in today's episode, Ross, but it worked really well there. Like him, Timmy, and Zetterlund, I thought played very well together, and I wouldn't mind seeing that line stick together a little bit to try to spread the wealth offensively, but I like Claude Giroux's game in tonight.
Yeah, I like that call. Claude Giroux, your SensCentral standout. I'm going to go, and I think Jody Shelley talked enough about him all night, but I'm going to wax poetic again about Jake Sanderson. The way that he controls this game night in and night out is actually incredible. Like the way he closes that one play on Patrick Kane where he thought he had a break and he put his stick out right away and said, nope, you're not cutting in. And then just flips it the other way and ramps it right out of play. Just those types of moves from Jake Sanderson are so elite, and doing it at such a high speed against elite offensive talent. It's truly incredible. Now, his pair tonight with Artem Zub kind of got cleaned out. A 35% shot share, 41% of the expected goals. But I thought Jake Sanderson in particular, individually, was one of Ottawa's best players tonight. So he'll be my SensCentral standout in this game. Pillsy, what'd you think of his performance?
A classic Jake Sanderson game. I mean, also you look at 28 minutes, 36 seconds, like he was just buzzing. They showed so many good replays and highlights of him showing his speed. There was one play, I don't even know when it was. I think Larkin was chasing Sanderson and Sandy just skates. He realizes he's running out of room, backhand to the middle of the ice, hits his guy in stride, and the Sens are able to enter the zone. Like, there's just so many little things that he does so well night in and night out. But I will stay on the point that I do think he needs to be shooting more on the power play, and whether that's a systematic thing where they don't want him doing that or he feels the need to defer, I'm not sure, but he's got one of those wrist shots that can find its way through more often than not, I find. And he's not a guy that's going to make low IQ plays and shoot into shin pads. So if he's got the lane, I want to see him use it.
Yeah, man.
Especially with a guy like Tkachuk in front most of the time, right?
Totally.
On power play, it just seems like if he can find that lane. I will say offensively, 4-game point streak, sneaky for Sanderson right now after going pointless in 5 games before that. So it's nice to see the offense picking up for him, but he's so good. That play on Kane, Ross, I like that you mentioned that. What I liked about that, you know when you got a stick in your hand when you're playing, it's hard to move it with one hand that quickly. He's able to put it in lanes so fast. Just his defensive play is unbelievable.
Dougie Darby, our guy, writes that Hunter Shepard was trying to confuse Rasmussen with too many options on that break. We just posted on Twitter at SensCentral. Go have your say there. Who should the Sens start in goal on Wednesday in Utah? Levi Marilainen, Hunter Shepard, and Mad Sogard. Of course, the caveat is that they play Thursday in Colorado. So you got to pick wisely here, but let us know. Okay. Well, now I'm seeing Andrei Trofimov should get some starts in the chat here. He's playing in junior hockey in Russia. That's where we're at, Sens fans. That's where we're at. And a part of me thinks that the Hamburglar run cost us like a goalie graveyard. It's like you get this, but in return, the devil will take 17
was it worth
goalies.
It?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I don't think so.
That was so sick, dude. 21-2.
The run was fun, but I mean, they got Thomas Chabot out of it. Let's look at it like that. The draft pick was Thomas Chabot.
True. Yeah, it was. Because then the one they got for Robin Leonard, they traded him that summer and got Colin White.
The curse started right there. Then that's when the curse started. Trading Robin Leonard.
Yeah, man. And you look at, Ben Bishop led the NHL in save percentage for like a 10-year stretch. That probably hurts too. All right. That's it for us tonight. 5-3, the Senators lose to the Detroit Red Wings. A really frustrating one where the Sens did enough to win this game, but ultimately fall short. And it's the same stories. It's exhausting. And we want this narrative to change around the Ottawa Senators. We appreciate all you citizens who get in the chat with us, venting or vibing, depending on the circumstance. We're here every single night after the Ottawa Senators play. We appreciate you guys for liking, subscribing, listening, watching, wherever you consume Locked On Senators. Please consider joining the Everydayer Club to get ad-free content right to your favorite podcast platform. For today, we say goodbye. For Jack Richardson and Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, and we're part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.